All right, I'm joined here today by Boxing 5 promoter Larry Wainstein. I just want to talk about the last tournament and also just recapping the entire year as a whole and how it went for you. But let's go to the most recent tournament. What was your thoughts on the tournament as a whole?
Hayden, thanks very much. I think it was really exceptional. It was an unbelievable crowd, atmosphere. The fights were amazing. I wouldn't have liked to have been in Andre's shoes to pick out the best fight of the night. And he came up with a winner, which was, I think, justified it. And I think there were two others that could have won it. But on the whole, I think it was great that Potty's got it. You know, he showed a lot of resolve and improvement and very exciting, and the crowd was behind him. The crowd was behind all the fighters. I mean, the atmosphere there was really something special. People commented about it and said one of the best tournaments we've had. I want to talk about others. We're not at the others, but one of the best tournaments we had. And it was really we felt a sense of achievement, because what we've been through over the year, and having to put one tournament with another promoter and then not put on two tournaments and wait for licenses. And, you know, we were starting to doubt ourselves. Maybe we don't know what we're doing. But I promise you, one of the better tournaments of ours for the year. In fact, the best of ours for the year.
Yeah, I've got so many questions because this last tournament left us with a lot of questions. And I'll just ask one by one. The first being heavyweight boxing. How was that to have that on your tournaments?
I think Colin mentioned it before the fight. To have a heavyweight fight on your tournament is amazing, because that's the epitome of boxing, the heavyweights. And everybody wants to know and wants to see the heavyweights. Unfortunately, we don't have a large pool of heavyweights in South Africa. So there's only a few that are able to fight, and they keep fighting each other. The one thing we were thankful for, those two hadn't fought each other before, and I mean the one guy who fought was SA champion, was ABU champion, Josh. So and Pottis is up and coming, and he's just come from being, you know, he fought the SA champion, and he got beaten. So now he's trying to go again for the title, and I think after this fight, I think he's signing now to fight for the title, which is great. Obviously, we won't be putting the title on, because the SA champion is with Golden Gloves, and so rightly so. I think they will put it on. But he's achieved what he wanted to, and we gave him the platform to get him there.
100%. And obviously, you mentioned heavyweight boxing being exciting. The other one was the knockout of Samkelo Sotomela as well. What a beautiful knockout!
Yeah. Frankie 101 is his acronym. He kept telling people, watch me, this is what's going to happen. And I must say, when he started off, he was a bit apprehensive, and then he got into his rhythm, and boy, people sort of couldn't believe it as the guy came in. You know, you have knockdowns where the guy catches the guy and he goes down. He caught the guy, and the guy poleaxed. He just went poof. I mean, it was, and I'm so glad for him, because he's fought once or twice on our tournaments before, and he's one of the development fighters. Suddenly people looking and saying, well, development fighters come a long way, and it's fantastic. For Shannon and for him, I'm really pleased, because he's one of the guys that come to training and put the work in, and he's not one of the big names, and they got all, you know, one thing there by Colin, all the big names, if you're just one of the crowd, you don't get noticed, but he spars with the guys, and he's got a great attitude, and I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, he made quite a scene at the press conference as well, calling out Jackson Shalke, which is an interesting take.
Yeah, well, you know, now he sees the other guys doing it, and I suppose you don't want to be this little mouse that stands in the corner. Let's bring it on. You know, obviously that won't happen now, but there will be a time, and who knows.
Also bringing up Cape Townian boxer Kaylee Swart, who trains with Matt Leishing. She put on a good performance as well.
Yes, she did. I must say, one of the reasons, not the only reason, but when her fighter pulled out on the Wednesday before our last tournament, was the tournament before, she came up and attended the tournament, even though she didn't have a fight. And I said to her, we will put you on the next one. And I must thank Sava, who looks after her in Cape Town. And he said, please, thanks for putting her on again. I must admit, I was very impressed with her ability in the ring. She's got a nice style and she boxes. She's still learning, takes one or two punches that's not necessary, but she sticks to a game plan, looks good, and I think she's got a big career in front of her, and thanks to Matt. And Matt looks after his fighters well, and we really were happy to have her on board, and let's see where that goes. And thank you for coming up and being on our bill.
All right, and just going to go to a little bit of disappointments, not from your end, but most certainly from one of the opponents of the boxers on Boxing 5. Ishmael Kadri's fight never happened. The boxer just simply didn't pitch up to the weigh-in.
The boxer didn't pitch to the weigh-in. Phone calls weren't answered. Got hold of the manager, and he couldn't get hold of the trainer. The manager said, I'm on my way to KwaZulu-Natal with another fighter. What I can't understand is the contract was signed, and they don't realize that's legal and binding. But until something gets done, people will think, well, that's just okay. We can do that, because I think that's what happens when you have the BSA just letting things go and nobody gets penalized. Well, I'm busy talking to my lawyers, and we are going to take it further, and we're going to make sure that BSA suspends him, and if he doesn't, we're going to go legally and take them on for loss of revenue. And not only that, the people that came up from Cape Town booked tickets to come up here. And boxers sometimes complain they don't get fights. I mean, a boxer like that and his trainer and the manager should be taught a lesson. It's not up to the promoter to make sure they come to the weigh-in. When they sign the contract, they have a legal binding contract, and that's their responsibility. The boy was broken-hearted, and I can understand that. He came up from Cape Town, was at camp here 6 weeks, and then to get wait at the weigh-in and phone, he just doesn't pitch. I will make sure, if BSA doesn't do anything about it, we will take it legal.
All right, so that's the next step with regards to that, and also just heartbreaking for the fighter as well. For like a guy like Ishmael, who's he's posting on social media regularly about becoming 7-0. It's an emotional roller coaster, isn't it?
Of course it is. He's got his mindset. He's in the zone for 6 weeks. You get yourself going, and then even up to it, cutting the weight, making sure, training and being so confident, but wanting to fight. And then what this happens? I mean, it really is disgraceful.
All right. And then moving over to another one, Leduma Lomati is now a manager of a boxer as well. So his first boxer he's managing, Atankosi Plakis. On his first performance, what did you make of Plakis?
Obviously, he hadn't fought for probably 14 months. He's only been in the gym with us for 6 weeks, and we pushed him into this tournament. Normally, we give the fighters a bit longer to settle in, but we wanted to get him going because of Leduma having brought him along and looking after him. And I thought he came out unbelievable. There were times where he couldn't find his feet in 1 or 2 rounds. The first 2 rounds was very, very good. The others, even though and it was a very good fighter that he had, good fight. The guy kept coming and could take a punch. Really can take a punch. And he's a work in progress. But it's up to Leduma now. Leduma's seen it. Leduma's very excited. After the fight, when he won, his comment to me was, Uncle I can't believe you kept saying there's more to boxing than just being a boxer. He says, I was in the ring with him fighting that fight. When after the fight, in tears, he grabbed me and said, thank you for bringing me back. The other boy, Ati, also been battling, was also in tears. He thanked Boxing 5. He was so appreciative. And more than that, we think he's got talent, and he needs a bit of honing and a few things to do, but that's what it's about, and that's up to Leduma now. And Pumzi, his trainer. Pumzi can get them right, especially guys that have got one of these, got issues about, the one thing I found about him, he loses it and he wants to knock the guys out. It's just got to be calm. When he boxes, he's beautiful. So let's see.
All right, and then what to the beginning of the card as well. Joshua Feldman, second fight, still very green in his career, a little bit of a novice experience, but he's coming along.
I've got to say, I'm always critical of our boxers, and when I say critical, I look to see if it's fair. From the first fight to this fight, he's come tons, comes on leaps and bounds. He's still got a long way to go. Still young, and he's getting in there. You must see he gets in there with these grown men. He's a youngster. But he holds his own, and he's starting to really feel more comfortable. He's not nervous. I think the first fight he was very nervous. He had started off a bit, but he settled down, and he definitely looks like he can go further, and I'm very proud of him.
All right, and then the main events of the evening, Siko, he again got a flawless unanimous decision. He did well against a seasoned Namibian opponent who was never going to be an easy fight for him. What's your thoughts on him and what's coming up next?
So, one thing about Boxing 5, we all try. You never get it right. But fighters like those that you're trying to bring along, and people say you give them a keep busy fight. Keep busy fight doesn't mean you knock the guy out in the first round. That's not busy fight. And he's had his last 3 fights, I think, haven't gone 2 rounds. So we get a bit nervous because now we're looking to push him up in the rankings and looking to take him out of South Africa and into the world stage. And you can't go onto that stage by having knockouts. You've got to put... The sparring is one thing, but in the ring it's totally different. This Namibian boy is fought some good South African fighters. I mean, if memory serves me correctly, he fought Gideon, the boy from East London, and they went rounds, and Gideon it was a good fight. And that's what AB does for Boxing 5. He doesn't get mentioned often, but I promise you, AB is the matchmaker. Those fights that were put on, AB matchmakes all our fights. And that's the proof. When I say to him, we don't want to start going home after 5 fights, all knockouts. If it happens, it happens. But on paper, it's got to be a fight that's going to go rounds. And the guys have to prove themselves. It's not just, hey, we're giving you a fight and we want you to win. There is fights that you think, well, we got the upper hand, but AB knows what we want. He's worked with us now for a year, and I promise you, he gets fights for us. People said, oh, what a tournament, thanks to AB. Siko, he shows that he can put on a show and sort of box, and he battled a little bit because of the southpaw, but there was no doubt he won the fight. There was no doubt that it was unanimous, and it was. Not to say, it was close and he was lucky. No, he made sure he won the fight because he knows what's at the end of the rainbow for him, and it's up to him.
Yeah, you mentioned preparing adequately for bigger fights as well,
yes.
International fights.
Yes.
Do you see him maybe exploring international waters next year?
Definitely. I think he's already been with 1 or 2 keep ready fights, has already moved up in the rankings, the RBF, and we're definitely looking to push for an eliminator or title, yeah.
All right, so moving over to the next part, you've had now a complete year of tournaments, you've had disturbances, you have interruptions, but nevertheless you got to where you wanted to get this year. How would you sum up 2023 for Boxing 5?
It's been if you wrote a book, at times it's a year you want to forget, but at times it's been an amazing year. When you look at where we started and what we did and where we are now, even with all the setbacks, I think a lot more other people with the setbacks would have said, what am I doing this for? Let's just get out of it. But there's too many families and lives at stake that we spoke about things and we said, should we carry on? Shouldn't we carry on? Why should we let these people who think that they own it get away with it and let us get out of the game and spoil it for the fighters that we've committed to? So we hung in there and we've made a plan, and it's not been easy. We've put our money where our mouth is. We've done things. We try to change it. We do things, and we'll continue to do so. But I'm saying, if you wanted to write a script and said at the end of that year, this is where you'd want to be. It's like we wrote the script.
All right, and obviously you laid the foundation. You said you got to, you wrote the script as to how you would like it to be. Next year, it's a whole nother year that will present a whole bunch of other challenges. How do you foresee 2024 going?
Well, in a bad year, say like 2023, I mean, we launched something that hasn't been done yet. I don't think anywhere. The Fight of the Night belt. And I mean, that alone shows you our commitment. Because I can tell you, I've got 10 belts in the cupboard. It's not just for this tournament. There's 10 belts ready-made in the cupboard, waiting. And I've got them there. So we going ahead, we've got to thank our sponsors for the year that supported us in whatever which way that they have supported us. And Omar Esop from TSE has come in and he wanted to be part of it and is over the moon and he wants to be part next year. And that's what we want to do. We want to bring on sponsors that can add value and give them something that they feel value for the money they're putting in. And hopefully we can get some content deals for our fighters and start exposing them. But 2024, to say what have we got in store, it's going to be, hopefully it'll be better than 23, but we need to sit down as we always do. It's not done by the seat of our pants. Early in January, we're sitting down, the Boxing 5 team, Riaz, Colin, Laduma, myself, and we're going to plan the tournaments and which fighters we're going to be putting on which months. Because unless you've got a plan, it all becomes just wishy-washy and you disappoint people. So you've got to have the plan and they'll understand. If any of our top fighters that you're wanting to push gets 3 fights in a year, they're doing very well. I think if they can get more, so be it. But there's so many fighters. Our plan is to make sure our fighters get at least 3 fights under Boxing 5, which I think we've done this year. And hopefully next year we'll maybe push some of them to 4, some of them will get 3. But we're planning to do, and there's a few discussions to be made that has come out, and we will be able to, a couple of surprises out there. There's a few things which I spoke about, the legal, what would you call it, the way boxers will be able to have legal advice on their own. That's going to be launched in January with Minyaka Inc., our legal people that's with Boxing 5, and then you'll be looking for maybe insurance from a company. But these are all things we plan to do in 24. So besides Boxing 5's tournaments and fighters pushing, we're looking to bring to make sure that they are looked after going forward.
All right, fantastic. Well, that's looking forward to next year, and obviously just a recap of this year that we did. Your favorite fight of the year?
My favorite fight of the year.
Do you have one?
I try not to, but I must say, if you ask me, the one that surprised me and I was glad for him was our friend Frank Stamela. That was a great fight. I think he surprised everyone. But I'm proud of all our guys when you look at what they've done. That's why I don't like to say, well, this was a good fight, that was a good fight. There are some fights that are amazing. I mean, Ish's fights, Samir Muller. We've just had guys on their cat, Creed. So it's very difficult. When you've got these guys, you had the top guys fighting. You had Hecky fighting. I mean, look at the guys, the quality, Hecky Butler. You've had Hedda Volmerans. You've had you had DJ Creel, Laduma Lamati, Sequence. I mean,
yeah, that's a difficult question, actually.
It's very hard, and we don't like to favor and say, oh, this fighter, that. They're all the same. Like with kids, you can't say this is my favorite because then they get this. Hey, I'm not the favorite, but we're there for all of them. I must say, and you must remember, we traveled. When I say we went with Laduma to Ireland. We accompanied Colin with Siva to Monte Carlo. Even Riaz has said he never dreamed of doing this, and now coming into the new year, there's already plans for trips and taking boxes here and looking after them. And locally, I mean, we went to Durban with Sequence and Laduma, you know, and they did hell of a well, you know. So that's what it's about, you know. And then obviously just from my side, I want to thank you for always being there for us and promoting boxing in the way that you do. I need to thank our Vision View for being there, and their production is superb, you know, I've got to say that. And they are at the moment one of the better ones, but they are partner. And also to the boxers, thank you so much. When they come onto our tournament, they seem to step it up. And then, of course, to the supporters. We've never been let down with supporters. They come to the home of boxing, the box camp. And, of course, you've got all my partners, you know. I've got to say thank you. It's a team. I always say it's not just me, it's the team. It's Colin, it's Riaz, it's Laduma, and then it's Usama and his team at the box camp. You know, there's people behind the scenes that just do things. And unless you got that, you know, I don't know how some promoters manage on their own, honestly. So they make Boxing 5 look good, and everybody looks at me as Boxing 5. I'm not. It's everybody. And of course, the unsung heroes. You know, if you look at our digital marketing campaigns, Andile, who works for me, I'm not joking, he's been a star. And he's been with me since COVID. And he's just improved, and the marketing stuff that gets out. And he makes us look so good, and everyone says, geez, look at Boxing 5. And I always forget about him because he's like my son, and you mustn't be patted on the back. You must do it because you have to, you know, but he goes beyond. At night, he works at night. He's got a studio at home, and everyone can't believe it. And then to the photographers, our friend Brian the Mouth Waisoki, he comes there, but he's amazing. You know what I'm saying? And even Nick's guy that comes, Stephen. You know, the guys come there and they take these unbelievable, and Andile takes photos. I've got my son-in-law taking photos. We just have so many people helping us. I just want to thank them. And guys, to the boxing fans and everybody, happy holidays, stay safe, and we see you next year at our first tournament. I'm just guessing, probably the end of February.
Okay. Lovely. Thank you very much, Larry, and thank you very much for all you do for everyone out there as well.